Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the kitchen. Welcome back to let's try something new or newish. Anyway, I've noticed lately that in the sort of big three Canadian grocery store chains, Metro, Sobeys, Loblaws, and all of their associated under brands, but for the most part, only three. I see a lot more Bison in the grocery store lately. I've eaten bison several times over the years. Usually see it at the plowing match. There's always a stall selling bison burgers and bison steaks and things like that. But I've never really cooked with it at home, and I thought since I can find now regularly these squares of ground bison. Well, need to turn the temperature up a little bit. And since local to us here, where we live, there's quite a few big bison operations. I thought I'd give it a go. And I really like beef that's a little gamier. I love moose. I love deer. I love those types of meats. So I think bison would really fit in with it. And there's a giant bison operation up on Manitoulin Island. And this summer, again, I will be flying with Hope Air in the Give Hope Wings fundraiser. Done this the last couple of summers. And Hope Air is a Canadian charity that connects Canadians that live in, say, more remote regions of Canada or parts of Canada where the hospital cannot perform the operation or the cancer treatment that they might need. It gets these people from that town where they live to a larger urban center like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, St. John's, Winnipeg, that sort of thing. And as much as our healthcare is universal and free for everyone to access, you have to get yourself to the hospital to get that care. And in some of these communities, and Julie and I have lived in some of these communities, getting to a hospital that can give you the care that you need can be difficult, can be very expensive. And so what Hope Air does is connect these communities through flights by private pilots like myself, or with the bigger airlines, you get someone to, say, Thunder Bay, and they can get a commercial flight to Toronto. Covers their flight, covers their hotel when they get to the hospital, and that's through partnerships with larger hotel and airline chains. Even a company like Uber is donating free rides from the hotel to the hospital, really to sort of take that economic pressure off of somebody who's dealing with something that is life-changing. So once again, I will be flying and fundraising. And over the last couple of years, you, my viewers, have really helped out with this. Last year, we raised just over $40,000. And when I say we, I mean you. You, my viewers of this channel and the Flying channel, donated $40,000. And some of you made substantial donations. But I mean, even the $5 donations mean something to me. It means that, everyone out there cares. So I'll be doing it again this summer. I will drop a link below to the charity and to the fundraising page. And if this is something that aligns with your values, please feel free to donate. And if it doesn't, but you still want to donate, I'm sure there's a charity local to you that would love for your help, because I can see 2025 being economically very difficult for some people. Probably economically very difficult for all of us. I haven't said what we're making yet. We're making a Bison and Barley Soup. I thought this would be a really quick and easy way to incorporate bison into something that I know that I already like. Kind of get a feel for how the flavors mix with things that I know. And then in the future, we can work a little bit more with bison and work it into other parts of my cooking. Now, I did add some oil in the bottom of this pan before I started frying it, because bison is a very low-fat meat. So I did put some oil in, and I'm glad that I did. So next in, I'm going to put a little bit of pepper and salt. And at this point, I'm going to add in onions, a couple of diced onions, a couple of diced carrots. This smells really good so far. One rib of celery, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And some cabbage. Okay, so only one rib of celery. Wintertime, Canada, the celery we get can be super bitter, and I tasted it while I was chopping it up, and I thought I only really want one piece because it is too bitter. In the summertime, I would probably put in 2 or 3 ribs of celery because it has a much nicer flavor at that point. The cabbage I'm putting in just because I had a little piece of cabbage in the bottom of the crisper, and it was one of those things where, you know, it had to be used up quickly or it was going to go into the compost. So I shredded it up and I put it in. That's the way I cook. Turnips, rutabaga, parsnips, any of sort of those winter vegetables, winter root vegetables would be great in this. If I had a piece of squash left in the freezer from last summer from our garden, I would have diced that up and put that in as well. I think squash would go really well in this. It's a soup. It's a soup. Build a soup. You put stuff in a pot and you sort of build on flavors that you know you like, and it's going to work out. So at this point, I'm just cooking this down to the point where the carrots are getting just a little bit soft and the onion is becoming translucent. And I'm going to move on to mushrooms. All right, so about a pound of chopped mushrooms. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put the lid on for about 5 minutes. Okay, not quite 5 minutes, but just enough that the mushrooms start to give off a little bit of their moisture. It makes it easier to stir them in. And we'll just let that cook down until the mushrooms lose most of their moisture. Now, today I'm using pot barley, but you could use pearl barley, you could use white rice, you could use bulgur. This component is really interchangeable with a lot of different things. Really what it comes down to is use the one you like, use the one that you have on hand, use the one that fits your budget, use the one that is easiest. Don't run around town searching for something that you can't get easily at your own grocery store. If you like it, it's probably going to work in here. I would even say that with the bison and the mushroom, wild rice, a portion of this as wild rice would work really well. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. It smells fantastic. Now, I'm going to put in thyme and summer savory because those are amazing in soups. And throw in the barley. And we'll stir that in. Frozen peas, frozen corn, and some stock. So this is a mix of some beef and chicken stock that I had on hand in the freezer. If I had bison bones, I would be making a stock of bison. I just didn't have them. So work with what you've got. Chicken stock is flavorful and is kind of neutral. Would just bring a neutral flavor and still allow the bison to shine through, I think. A little bit of beef stock will bring up that umami, but I think the bison will still shine through. You're probably all looking at the lonely jar of Marmite sitting over there. Yes, normally that would end up in a soup if I was making this with beef. But again, I want to see how the bison comes across in this milieu of flavors. Okay, so I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. I'm going to put the lid on, leave a little bit of a gap, and let it go for about an hour. Okay, there we go.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, friends. Stew?
Well,
Soup?
it's a very
Stew. Stew. What do you got going there,
It's
Glenn?
a very thick soup. Yeah, I could have used a little more liquid, maybe.
Or a little less barley?
A little less barley.
You
Who
are.
knows? There you go.
All right, but of course, you can never. Barley's always a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to not have the barley. Looks pretty good. Got lots of good color.
That's hearty. That's hearty.
That's good. It's got a slightly different flavor to it, though.
It's the bison. And it's just slight, isn't it? It's not.
I will explain. It's very subtle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
If
really
you weren't
good.
looking for it, because I'm always looking for what flavors you've put in things when I'm standing here. If you're just sitting down and have a bowl of soup, it's a bowl of soup.
It would taste just like a ground beef bowl of soup. Now, I did leave a couple of things out that I would normally put in a beef and barley soup. I didn't put in any tomato paste. I would normally put tomato paste in something like this. I left it out because I wanted to see what the effect of the bison was. And I didn't put in Marmite, which I would normally put in to bring the umami flavor. I don't think you really need it.
No, I wonder what that would do.
There's so many mushrooms in here.
I was going to say the mushrooms really add to it too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice.
So switch up your root vegetables. You know, put in some turnips, some rutabaga, parsnips, that sort of thing if you want to. Yes, whatever's in the bottom of your crisper that you need to put in a soup.
Put it in.
That's what soup is for. This is really great.
I made one 2 weeks ago with just everything that was freezer burnt. Mm-hmm. There were Brussels sprouts and carrots and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, excellent. So, this is a really good soup. Make it with any meat that you have, any meat that was on sale at the grocery store. It could be ground beef, ground pork, ground chicken, ground turkey. All of those things would work. But, you know, bison is nice for a change. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. So I'm probably the worst YouTuber on YouTube.
I don't know about that, but you know.
Totally forgot. We've got these aprons, these snazzy Glen and Friends aprons. I'm supposed to tell you every 5 minutes to buy one. It would be great if you bought one, please. I would really appreciate that. These are made in Canada by a Canadian company out in Vancouver. Absolutely fantastic quality. It's a buy once, wear it forever type deal. But you could take your money and give it to charity. You know, I'm flying again with Hope Air this summer. That would be fantastic. We're also probably in a time period when there's a bigger need at food banks. So do that.